Good morning once again, colleagues, comrades, and partners. Welcome to South Africa, Mzansi. Feel at home for those who are coming from outside of the country. Um, I will be helping us move throughout the day in terms of facilitating and supporting the speakers. We are gathered here for a very momentous occasion, first of its kind in South Africa in terms of coordinating and speaking with different stakeholders from labor, civil society, grassroots movements, and academics and other um, actors that I'm not mentioning, but it's for the first time that we gather here and try to find each other in terms of tax issues in South Africa, especially as it relates to international tax reform, and the ongoing dynamics locally. We know that our budget has been postponed several times because of the VAT hike and other issues. So we are gathered here to just find solutions and push innovatively going forward as to what mechanisms can we implement as civil society, as the different actors that are gathered here. So, at the risk of doing the opening remarks myself, I will welcome the different organizing partners that will help us in terms of welcoming you into the room and share more about why exactly we are here, and what do we aim to achieve and what is expected of us. Um, and we have some opening remarks. Firstly, it will be Basani Baloi from the IJ, followed by Yako, and then Uta from FES, as well as Tomaso. And then Isabel is not in the room for now. She'll be joining us online, but she'll be arriving for the sessions later on. So, um, Basani, please come forward. Yeah, just the other uh, interventions, please just be on standby to come.
Good morning, comrades, ooh, distinguished guests, and colleagues. It is an incredible honor to welcome you all to the International uh, Tax Reform Summit. Whoa. So, we are gathered here to engage with each other, to debate, to find each other, as well as to learn from each other, as we try to advance ideas that chart equitable tax policy that can help our countries raise revenues for public goods and support inclusive and sustainable development. Our summit, as Zimbali said, could not have come at a more opportune time. As we gather here, South Africa is debating its national budget in Parliament after 3 months of delays due to the resistance to a regressive hike uh, uh, on the VAT. The current budget impasse highlights the importance of mainstreaming alternative revenue proposals rooted in ensuring that the wealthy pay their fair share of taxes. Luckily for us, we are not starting from scratch. The Brazilian government, with the support of Professor Gabriel Zucman, has shown that a global minimum tax of just 2% can raise up to 250 billion a year. At the same time, the UN Tax Convention negotiations are ongoing thanks to the work of the Africa Group and the persistence of civil society. The negotiations have the potential to deliver a convention that can help us curb illicit financial flows and end tax evasion and establish rules for taxing the wealthy, among other issues. Indeed, we are beginning to see unprecedented momentum toward coordinated reform of the international tax system, and we are to use this moment and take it for our own advantage. As the summit progresses, I call on those in the room to bring all of their insight, all of your lived experiences and expertise to shape a rich discussion that can inform our collective action in forging a progressive tax agenda in Africa and beyond. Thank you once again, and I look forward to today's engagements and the collaboration that will emerge from labor, civil society, academics, youth, and all of those who are in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Basani, and good morning, everyone. I'm Jaco Olofsson from the Alternative Information Development Center in Cape Town. So we're one of the co-organizers. And we're really excited to have this meeting and have this debate. Like Zimbali said, for the first time in South Africa, really, where civil society has come together to actually discuss this international tax issue. It's something that's extremely important for the country. Oh, sorry. It's something that's extremely important for the country. Uh, Basani was talking about the need for revenues, this debate around the budget and the VAT, the value-added tax hike, has really kind of brought tax discussions into the mainstream, and this is a really important part of that discussion. Because without changing the global rules, without changing the international tax order, we are very limited in what we can actually do to stop things like corporate tax evasion by multinationals and illicit financial flows. We really need solutions at an international level. And this process it's happening now with the OECD and the United Nations Framework Convention for International Tax Cooperation. These are really kind of once in a lifetime opportunities where there's this opening that's been created to change rules that are 100 years old. And rules which were set at a time where most African countries were colonies. And South Africa could play a very important role in this process with our resources, with our kind of diplomatic standing and ability. And we want to be really encouraging the government, the representatives working with, but also pushing them where need be, maybe, to really take up this role and to champion this issue and actually, make some meaningful progress in fighting the state of corporate tax evasion. That's really kind of dominating the world today. So it's really important that we as civil society start paying attention, we start engaging on this issue, and we see this meeting as it's a first step towards actually building maybe kind of a consensus and hopefully some kind of campaign around international tax issues that we can actually take forward out of this meeting and continue to build and bring more into the room. Yeah, I think I'll stop there. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Uta Dirksen. I'm the director of the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung here in South Africa. And it's also my pleasure to welcome you to Johannesburg. I know some of you traveled far to be with us for today. For those of you that might not be familiar with FES as an organization, we're a German political foundation that's has close ties with progressive parties and the labor movement. And you might ask why FES, as a social democratic foundation, is active on questions of tax justice. Because tax justice for us is not just a question of social justice, but also of democracy. The The gross inequality and the unprecedented concentration of wealth that we're seeing is threatening democracy in at least three ways. One is the discontent of the many who struggle to make ends meet every day and at the same time see the unprecedented concentration of wealth in the hands of others, and they feel that democracy isn't working for them. So they look to other solutions that are being offered and that are currently being offered by right-wing populist movements in the world. It also damages democracy in the sense that there's a lack of resources for the state, and both Basani and Jaku referred to this in terms of the South African case. So there's a decline in the public services, which further exacerbates people's daily struggles. And finally, there's, of course, the direct influence of big multinational corporations and wealthy individuals on policy making at the national and international level. We believe that taxation is both an effective and efficient way to tackle all of these issues. And of course, and the previous speakers referred to this as well, any solution has to be international because, as Jaku said, the possibilities we have at the national level are limited by the international frameworks. And we have made great strides in this in recent years. We saw it in the film yesterday that thanks to the global tax justice movement, great advances have been made with regard to international tax cooperation. I mean, who would have believed 10 years ago at the Addis Ababa Financing for Development conference that a UN framework convention on tax cooperation would already be in the making as we prepare for the Sevilla conference next year? Who would have believed that we have a global minimum tax? Of course, it's not enough. The rate is still too low, but there is an agreement that has been reached and countries are starting to implement it. And who would have imagined that the Brazilian G20 presidency would call for the taxation of the ultra-rich in 2024? So we should celebrate our wins, and it's great to celebrate these advances, but we're not there yet. Our organization FES celebrates 100 years this year, and our slogan for the 100-year celebration is "There's still a lot left to fight for together." And of course, we all know international framework conditions are also becoming more and more challenging. So the future doesn't look entirely rosy. So we're here against this backdrop today to discuss how the momentum that has been created can be taken up by the South African G20 presidency, and what a joint African agenda for international tax reform could look like. So while it's fitting that we're discussing this here in Johannesburg during the G20 presidency, the question of progressive taxation is a crucial one at the national level as well. I mean, South Africa has been called the most unequal country in the world. So this is a question that goes beyond the G20 presidency. And I think it's high time that the question of international tax reform gains much greater prominence in the South African policy discussions, but also within civil society and trade union movements. And I mean, we've seen the difference that an active union engagement can make in the advocacy for the UN tax convention. So we hope that this summit is not only going to be a further step in the global engagement of FES on international tax justice issues, but also a starting point for an intensified action on tax justice with our partners here in civil society and the unions. Because in these rough international times, progressive movements more than ever need to join forces, because only together we can make a difference. And I would really like to thank the co-organizers of this summit, ICRIT, the AIDC, IEJ, and Oxfam for the great cooperation in preparing this. And I really hope that we can push the agenda forward a little bit today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm Tommaso Faccio. I'm the Secretariat of ICRIT, the Independent Commission for the Reform of International Corporate Taxation. It's chaired by Joseph Stiglitz and Jati Ghosh. We have 14 commissioners spread around the world, but we're also supported by a number of civil society, trade union organization, faith organization. And it's a pleasure to be here. Is in the age of Zoom meetings, team meeting is always there's always a premium to be in a room. So I hope that we can all engage in fruitful discussions. There's particularly three things that I think are important to try and take forward. So the first one is build momentum. I think we said it's been said before. There is a window opportunity at national level with the tax reform, which means that this discussion is no longer like a philosophical discussion, but discussion of progressive taxation is something that a lot of people are talking about here today in South Africa. There's also the G20, so bring in the international dimension of international taxation, and there's also the UN process. So how do we link all these processes to create a common agenda, understand how each process can push the other and to advance reform. The other is to create partnership. It's about networking. Important when I come to a conference, there's always half of my objective is to learn something, but the other half is really to network and create new partnerships. I think there's a lot of people here that I don't know, and I expect some of you know each other, but some of you will also meet new people today. And I think the important thing is to create partnership, continue the work together, and work towards a common agenda. I think that it's our event today is timely. We are in the most unequal country in the world, and not just in Africa. It's also the largest economy in Africa. So South Africa can be a really important player, both it's got its own national reform, but really a regional level in global discussion at the UN, G20, in the BRICS. These are all forums where the government of South Africa can play an important positive or negative conservative role, and is our role as a civil society organization to try and push the policymakers, make them accountable, and ensure that we can do as much as we can to work towards a fairer tax system. So I wish you all the best for the deliberation today, and I look forward to hear from you. Thank you.